Hey, West Burlington Falcons, Mr. Hedman here. I was just spending a little time practicing some music on my melodica. That music that you're listening to right now is called Sivspring. It's music from Denmark, and translated in English, Sivspring means 7 jumps. We're going to be learning a little bit more about this music called 7 Jumps and the folk dance from Denmark that goes along with it. So, let's get going.
Welcome to the music room. Welcome to the music room. Welcome to the music room. Ready, set, here we go. Welcome to the music room. Welcome to the music room. Welcome to the music room. Ready, set, here we go.
I want to open up our music class today with a little bit of practice keeping a steady beat. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, ugh, Mr. Hedman, the steady beat is something that we learned about in kindergarten. Why are we practicing it this year? We're practicing it this year because, believe it or not, I still have students in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, even 4th and 5th grade who still struggle with keeping a steady beat. Why is it so important that we are all professionals at keeping a steady beat? Any ideas? Yes, that is exactly my thinking. The steady beat is the most important part of music. It is what I like to call the foundation of music. If we do not have a good foundation of keeping a steady beat, we're going to also struggle with things such as rhythm or reading notes on a staff. It is that important that we have a good concept of the steady beat. I tell my students, the beat is not a vegetable. I know some of you out there probably don't like to eat vegetables very much. Maybe you're a little bit of a picky eater. Maybe some of you do like your vegetables, and that's great. But a lot of kids don't like to eat their vegetables. The beat is not a vegetable. We love the steady beat. I want you to pretend the beat is your favorite food in the entire world. Maybe that's ice cream or pizza or hot dogs, whatever it may be. Pretend the steady beat is that food. We love the steady beat, and that is why we are always practicing keeping a steady beat. We're going to practice the steady beat using items from our music kit. So if you've got your music kit handy, go ahead and get that ready to go. If you don't have your music kit available, look for things around your house that might be able to take the place of the items in my music kit. I'm going to show you the 4 items from your music kit that you're going to need. The first item you need are your pool noodle scrapers that we scrape together just like that. If you don't have anything like this, find something that you can scrape. Maybe you've got an aluminum can nearby and you can scrape something against the edges of the can. That would be a good substitute. Or maybe you've got some sandpaper around the house. Some sandpaper rubbing together would make a similar sound. The next item you need. You'll need your rhythm sticks. These are actually corn dog sticks, but you'll be using whatever you can find. If you've got your corn dog sticks, you can use these. We'll use them as rhythm sticks and also kind of like drumsticks. If you don't have these in your music kit, things you could use to replace them around your house. Maybe you've got some popsicle sticks. Maybe you've got some chopsticks around the house. Maybe you have some pencils. Pencils would be a good substitute for these. The third item you're going to need is your egg shaker. If you don't happen to have your egg shaker around or you can't find it, find something else in your house that can make a sound when you shake. That would be a good option to replace the egg shaker. Last but not least, you need a couple of plastic plates. Now, some of you got these in your music kit, some of you did not. If you did not get plastic plates in your music kit, do not freak out. Because things you could do, you might be able to find some paper plates or plastic plates in your house that you can borrow. Or if you don't have any of those in your house, you can just use your hands. They will work perfectly fine instead of the plastic plates. If you just want to use your hands, that is okay. We're going to keep the steady beat along with some music called Electric Counterpoint by Steve Reich. All you need to do is watch me and copy the steady beat exactly as I do. Remember, the steady beat is not always so fast. It's sometimes a little slow. We don't want to go as fast as we can. We want to think about that heartbeat, how it's constant. It beats at the same time every time. That is what we're aiming for with our steady beat. Take a listen to this music by Steve Reich, Electric Counterpoint. Copy the steady beat with whatever I use. Let's start by listening to it, getting that steady beat in our brain, just thinking about it. Beat, 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 beat. Let's practice it a little bit by tapping our shoulders. Hey, that's pretty good. Now, something interesting about this music, there are 3 beats in every measure. We divide music into things called measures. I want us to practice a measure of beats with a 3-beat pattern like this. Shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder. Get that pattern going. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There you go. Excellent. Not too fast. Don't lose track of that pulse. Keep it going. Steady every time. Count the beats of the measure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Choose your favorite item from the kit. Doesn't matter what it is. Take your favorite item from your kit and use that to keep the steady beat. Doesn't have to be the egg shaker just because I'm using it. If you get bored, you can always switch. We're getting close to the end. An old friend is going to help us warm up our singing voices today. Say hello to Lulu. And Lulu, why don't you say hello to the boys and girls? Lulu. We remember that Lulu loves to sing, but there's one problem. She's a little bit like a baby. She doesn't know a lot of words. The only word she really knows is Lou. When she sings, she sounds like this. Loo, loo, loo. And we echo it back to her. Loo, loo, loo. You might have noticed something with Lulu's body. When her body is up high, is she singing high or low? Yes, when her body's up high, she sings high. And when her body's down low, she sings low. Loo, 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 loo. I want you to practice recognizing high and low sounds. Use that hand as you echo her songs to show high and low, like Lulu shows with her body. Echoing after Lulu. Loo, 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 loo. Sometimes she does a few other silly voice exercises. Now I know for some of you, you might think this sounds a little ridiculous. And you know what? You are right. But that's kind of the life of a vocalist. We do silly things all the time. I'm a bit of a goofball if you haven't noticed already. If I have no problem doing these silly exercises, you can do it too. Echo after Lulu. 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 Why is it important for us to warm up with Lulu? Why do we warm up our singing voices with Lulu? Those silly sounds that we make, they're actually useful for warming up our voices because if we don't warm up our voices, we can actually injure them while singing. There are many professional singers who've actually damaged their voice, had to get surgery on their voices just to fix the damage that was done. It is important that we warm up our voices to prevent those injuries from ever occurring in the first place. Now, on this wall over here, you notice I've got these hand signs. Some of you might recognize these hand signs. These are known as Kerwin hand signs, and we use them when we sing something called solfege. Solfege is something that singers use to help us recognize different pitches or different notes, high and low sounds. For example, let's do a little echo patterns. I will sing first. I want you to repeat after me. So, mi, so, so, mi, so, mi, so, mi, so, mi, so, so, mi, so, mi, do, do, mi, do, 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 mi, so, so, la, so, so. You get the idea. We use these hand signs at the same time as singing solfege. Anyone know what's the purpose of the hand signs? Why can't we just sing the solfege, the syllables by themselves? The hand signs are a way for us to get those pitches in our heads even more. It's a way for us to help us identify those pitches even a little bit easier, a little more recognizable that way. So we use these hand signs in conjunction with solfege. Lulu is going to actually help us with some solfege practice today, some ear training, and here's how this is going to work. Lulu is going to sing a short pattern like this. Lulu, Lulu. Your job is to repeat that pattern back to her like you did before. However, this time, you are going to be using your hand signs and solfege, like what is on the wall behind you. But here's the problem. Since Lulu can't sing anything else besides Lou, how do we know what pitches to sing? We recognize those high and low sounds. We get those high and low sounds in our brain. For example, Lou, Lou, Lou would be so, mi, so. you might notice her body kind of lines up with the different hand signs and the different syllables. That might help you out a little bit. So Lulu's going to sing first. I want you to echo after her, but instead of singing Lulu, you're going to sing so, me pattern. So and me is what we're using today. Take a listen to Lulu, and then we'll echo after her. Lulu, so, me, so. Try another one. Lulu, me, so, me. Lulu, so, so, me. Lulu, me, so, me. Lulu, me, so. Lulu, so, la, so. Now, Lulu, you didn't tell me you were going to throw in a new note just like that. Lulu. I know, you're sorry. Boys and girls, she is going to add in a new note, la, up at the top over here. Be prepared if she goes higher than so. Loo, loo, loo. That's going to be la. We're going to sing la like that. Listen to her first. We're going to echo after her. Loo, loo, loo. So, la, so. Loo, loo, loo. So, me, so. Loo, loo, loo. Me, so, la. Loo, loo, loo. La, so, me. Excellent job singing those so, la, me patterns, or salami as I like to call it. Excellent job matching those pitches and with those hand signs as well. Let's get going with some more music class. Well, hello, boys and girls. Your friend Leo is here once again for music class. Mr. Hedman asked me to introduce our next activity for music today, the folk dance called Seven Jumps. This is a dance that began in the country of Denmark in Europe. I want us to take a listen to the music for Seven Jumps, and as you listen, I want you to think about how many different sections you hear in the music. By sections, I'm talking about unique parts of the music. You might notice that the music changes from time to time. We're going to call those sections. Count how many unique sections you hear, and I will help us out. Let's take a listen. This is our introduction, where we would bow like this. This is section 1. The music changes, that's section 2. And here's section 3. Now listen. We go back to section 1. That's important for the dance. And here's section 2. Section 3. And now we're back at the beginning, section 1. Section 2. And of course, section 3. We go back to the top, section 1 again. Section 2. And section 3. Ooh, let's pause the music right there. Now, boys and girls, we heard 3 different sections that all rotated. We started with section 1, section 2, section 3. Then after section 3, we returned to section 1. But I want to talk a little bit more about section 3. You might have noticed there was a high, low, sound like that. The first time we got to section 3, how many times did you hear it? High, low. We heard it one time, and then we went back to section 1. The second time we got to section 3, how many times did you hear it? High, low, high, low. We heard it twice. The third time we got to section 3, we heard that same sound 3 times. And the fourth time, 4. We add one more high, low every single time. That is an important part of the dance 7 jumps. Now, I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Hedman, who's going to teach us the dance itself. Over to you, Mr. Hedman. I'm going to go ahead and teach you the moves to the Folkdance 7 jumps from Denmark. But before I go into the details of the dance moves, I want to let you know that the dance moves I'm about to teach you are not the original dance moves from Denmark. If you're interested in finding out the original dance moves, you can find the original 7 jumps dance moves on YouTube, just searching for 7 jumps. Now, the dance that I'm going to teach you is very similar. It's almost identical. I just changed a couple things to make it a little bit easier for the way that our music class is set up. For example, we're still supposed to practice social distancing. We can't get too close. In the original 7 jumps dance, you'd actually be standing in a circle. That's an important part of the dance, but because of social distancing, we're going to be staying in one spot the entire time. We're going to stay 6 feet apart from everyone else. We're going to go through all 3 sections of the dance, starting with step 1. Step 1, section 1, is pretty simple. We are going to skip in place for 8 beats. Now, if you're someone who has a hard time skipping, instead of skipping, you can always just hop in place, and that will be just fine for the dance. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip for 8 beats all together. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This time, we're going to do it again, and I'm going to sing the melody so you can kind of get a picture of how it's going to sound and look like. It'll look a little bit like this. Dun da 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 dun da da dun da da dun da 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 dun da da dun dun dun. Here comes section 2. Now, section 2 is a little bit tricky. I recommend watching me first, and then we will try it together. Section 2 is going to look like this. Clap, 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 cross and turn, clap, 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 cross and turn. You might have noticed when I did my turn, did I turn all the way in a complete circle? No, I only spun around 180 degrees into a half circle. So the first time I turned this way so that I'm facing the opposite direction. Then the second time, I go back to facing my original direction. Watch it one more time. Check out that cross, especially with the legs. That can be kind of tricky. Clap, 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 cross and turn. Clap, 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 cross and turn. Let's try it all together now. And here we go. Clap, 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 cross and turn. Clap, 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 cross and turn. Try it while I sing the melody. And here we go. Dun 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 da 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 dun 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 da 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 da. Let's put both sections 1 and 2 back to back together. I'll sing the melody. We'll do the dance moves all together. And here we go. Bum ba da 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 dun da da dun da da dun da 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 dun da da dun 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 da 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 dun 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 da 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 da. Here comes section 3. We have the high, low sound. This is where things get a little interesting. Every single time we get to that section 3, they add another high, low. And every single high-low is going to be a different action. The first time we have a high-low, we're going to lift up one leg. As long as that note is a high note, we're going to hold it, bouncing it up in the air. And then on the low sound, we're going to stomp. The second time we get to section 3, you're going to start with that same leg, lifting it up in the air and stomp. Then it's going to be the other leg, high, low. The third time, you're going to kneel on the ground with one leg. The other leg is sitting up like this. The fourth time, you're going to put your other leg on the ground, so both legs are on the ground. The fifth time, you're going to take your elbow. You're going to set that elbow down on the ground. The 6th time, you're going to do your other elbow. And the 7th and final time, with both elbows on the floor, you're going to rest your head in your hands, just like that. That is all 7 of the high-lows. Imagine that 7 steps for the song 7 Jumps. Now, I know you may not remember all that, and that is perfectly okay. The wonderful thing about 7 Jumps is it is so simple of a dance that you can do it just by copying me and watching what I do. I mentioned a moment ago that the dance that we are learning in music class is not exactly the same as the original 7 Jumps from Denmark. So I want you to watch this short video of the original 7 Jumps from Denmark. Watch the video of these people dancing the original dance. Compare it to the steps that we learned in music class. How is their dance both similar and different to the dance that we are doing in music class today? Let's take a watch.
7 Jumps, Denmark.
So now that you've had a chance to see the original dance, let's talk about how the original 7 Jumps is different than the one that we are learning in music class. Let's start by actually talking about what was similar. What are some things that were the same between their dance and the one that we are doing? You might have noticed that their dance is still divided into 3 sections based on the music, much like ours is. What about the high-low part of the music and the steps, the dancing that they did? Their actions for the high-lows are the exact same as ours. The only difference is the very last one, the 7th one. They put their forehead on the ground. We do not put our forehead on the ground because we don't know how dirty your floor is. We want to make sure that we're keeping our faces off the floor. So instead, we just rest our head in our hands. What about some things that were different about their dance? There's quite a bit that was different. What were some things that were different? You might have noticed that they danced with other people. Now, if you've got family members at home that want to join you in the dance, that would be a great thing to do. You could dance with them together. You notice that they were standing in a circle. A lot of folk dances have people dancing together in something like a circle or in a straight line. That's because music and dancing way long ago was a form of entertainment. They didn't always have the same technology that we have now. They may not have had access to things like video games or the internet or even TV or radio back then. So they had to find ways to entertain themselves in different capacities, and dancing was one of those ways. They would get together and they'd perform dances like this for fun. So they danced in a circle. They were holding hands. Now, if you're doing this outside of your home, you probably don't want to be holding hands with other people. We want to make sure we're keeping each other healthy and safe. But if you're with just your family, that would be something you could do. When they skipped, they didn't skip in place. Instead, they skipped around in a circle. What about section 2 of the music? How was their section 2 different from our section 2? Remember that our section 2 was clap, 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 cross and turn, clap, 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 cross and turn. How was their section 2 different? They didn't have any of that. Instead, for their section 2, they just skipped in the opposite direction around the circle. That is how they handled step 2. Anything else that you noticed was different? What about the music? You might have noticed that the melody itself, the theme of 7 Jumps, was exactly the same. It sounds much like ours, but what about the instruments that they use? Our version of 7 Jumps used instruments like the flute and violin and guitar. Their version used a different instrument. See if you can guess what instrument this is. You kind of play it by squeezing it in and out like that. Yeah, it's an accordion. They use an accordion for their music for 7 Jumps. So those are some of the key similarities and differences between 7 Jumps in Denmark to the version of 7 Jumps that we are learning here in the United States today. Now, with that said, let's get to some actual dancing. Make sure you're giving yourself plenty of space for 7 Jumps. You also want to make sure you've got a little bit of space in front of you for when you have to kneel down on the ground and put your elbows on the floor as well. Make sure you're giving yourself a safe place to dance. Let's get to it.
So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I said so long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. It's been great to play and sing together, but now it's time to say goodbye. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I said goodbye for now, until we meet again.